First thing that we want to hit was the big news of the week to this point, and that's Myles Garrett requesting a trade from the Cleveland Browns. He is headed into his 9th NFL season, and this is something that didn't come out of nowhere for Cleveland. In fact, the willingness he had to go public with it, I think, tells us a couple of things. Number one, this didn't happen yesterday. This has been on the Browns' plate for at least a little while now, and that he was willing to go public with his trade demand was, I think, a result of the Browns' unwillingness to accommodate that trade demand. So he had a written statement. Obviously, a lot of this was coordinated, and it puts the Browns now in a position where they don't have to do anything. And it serves Myles Garrett's purpose because for now, the trade demand's out there. Other teams are going to call. The Browns get pushed down the plank on this. There's pressure on them to at least figure out what his value is. And again, they don't have any plans to trade him right now, but this at the very least puts the Browns in a position where they can figure out what his value is without making a single phone call on their own. And for Garrett, again, it puts pressure on the Browns to at least do something here, whether that's going back to him with a contract adjustment, whether it means going and trying to figure out a way where they can put their roster in a position to compete for a championship now and change his mind, or it could mean trading him. The second thing is, again, and this relates back to this does put pressure on the Browns to build their roster up if the idea is to keep Myles Garrett. And I think it's a good type of pressure for the Browns to be facing. I don't want to, give you every silver lining that you could possibly think of with this situation, but certainly I think when you look at this from the Browns' perspective, it sort of becomes nut-cutting time for them, where you have to make a decision now on what you're going to do and which path you're going to take. Are you going to double down on the core that you have right now with guys who have been core members of your team, guys like Garrett, guys like Denzel Ward, guys like Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah and Joel Bitonio, who are a little further into their careers? Double down on them, do something really aggressive at the quarterback position, get aggressive about adding other guys to the roster so you can convince somebody like Garrett to stay, or do you go through a little bit of a roster reset? And I do think part of that is going to be taking a very serious look in the mirror and figuring out where you are as a team. And the way you do that is you look at timelines and you go in and you say, okay, here's where Myles Garrett is age-wise. He's 29 years old. Denzel Ward's only a year younger than him. You have two guys that are very important pieces of the team. You've got other guys who are in that age range. Looking in the mirror with those guys means looking in the mirror and saying, by the time we're ready to compete for a championship, are these guys still going to have time left in their career? In other words, is there a window here where we're going to be able to do enough to compete in the AFC with Patrick Mahomes, with Joe Burrow, with Lamar Jackson, with Josh Allen? Can we get up to that level fast enough where these guys, these important pieces of our team, are going to still have enough left in the tank to help put us over the top? Because if the answer to that question is no, maybe you do have to take a harder look at some of those things, and you do have to consider offloading those veteran players while they still have value and can bring value back. It's a really interesting position that the Browns are in.